Today just came out from the dog. My lenses are all dark. It's a nice sunny day out there, so that's why they're black lenses. But today we have a system. There's four of us. There's my father, my brother, and a brother's friend from England, and me. There's four people, and we kind of circulate the recipes. Who gets to choose it? And today's brew is selected by my father, and it's again from BrewDog. I think me and my father go for BrewDog, and Pate and Luke maybe go for different recipes. But this is now Mr. Miyagi's Wasabi Stout, and I just was messaging with my brother, and he's getting the wasabi as we speak. We have all the other ingredients. I picked them up yesterday from Panimonorka, and yeah, we'll get on brewing. I've got the strike water, I heard people call it, but the initial water that we put the grains in, it's now heating up at 77 degrees, and then we'll mash it at 65 for 60 minutes or so. But yeah, interesting to see what comes out of this one. Wasabi in here. Really?
So this is Rob's recipe, Mr. Miyagi's Wasabi Stout. And I think today for the first time the strike water is at 77. So there's quite a lot of grain going in. We have, what's this called? Maris Otter. I think this was the one that you used before as well.
Yeah, I think that's a base for just about everything.
6 kilos going in. So let's start with this, because this will cool down the temperature in the water quite a bit, because there's such a substantial amount going in. And we have 6 gallons of water at 77 degrees, so about 23 litres, you said?
Yeah,
roughly.
Well, 6 gallons. It was on the money.
Yeah, we've got the grain stopper in. So we've used some spices before in the wheat beer, which was coriander and orange peel, but very, very, very tiny amounts. So today we're going in with horseradish and wasabi paste.
Wasabi, yes. And I think there's a funny sense of humor from our father that he has chosen this type of a beer.
Well, we'll see. The piparijuuri, so the horseradish, was fresh and finished, so that might... Wasabi powder, because even in the wasabi paste there is only...
See, this is what I noticed the last time.
Huge lumps.
Yeah, the lumps come in.
Because in the wasabi paste there is only 2.6% of actual wasabi. So the wasabi powder, I imagine, would be just wasabi.
Well, the recipe says the paste is... I think now I've got all the lumps.
So yeah, this should be... I think I read yesterday in some article as well about the... it's good for it to be a bit hotter. So this grain going in here is cooling down the liquor, and then I think beforehand we've just had it at that 66, yeah. And then when we've got it all in, then we
reduce it down to 66,
yeah.
And then we start the mashing.
Yeah. And did you say that we should make a porridge out of the oats, or?
Well, that was what the guy suggested at Panimonorka. He did it only for the previous Imperial Stout because the batch was so big.
Okay.
But now it's quite a lot smaller.
Yeah.
The amount of oats.
Yeah. So I think we're quite decadent with our brews in terms of back in the Middle Ages they would have been rationing the malts and using very little and making weak beers, and it was hard to come by, and it was rich people pretty had it. So we're chucking in probably the maximum amount into these brews and churning out strong stuff.
This is about a kilo less than the max that this holds.
Yeah. And the Panimonorka was started up by enthusiasts, like a club for brewing, and so they have the service of milling the grain. So this is pre-milled for us, which is handy in a way. The mill costs quite a bit. We've borrowed it from the neighbor a couple of times, but it's an expensive bit of gear.
This is Chateau Crystal.
So the first time we did this, I think we used very little water and the mash was really thick, but the beer still turned out fine, and we pretty made some schoolboy errors to begin with, but the beer ended up still tasting pretty good, so I think it's quite a forgiving process, this.
Yeah, this is one thing that can you grab the the circulation hose? Or
Get it going.
Yeah, we can, because it makes this mixing a lot easier.
Okay. They call this in the DIY dog Vorlauf, some German. Is it Vorlauf?
I don't know what it's been.
That.
Yeah, but I need to switch the pump on. Alright.
So, probably got another couple of kilos of this.
And then we've got Viking roast barley is going in next.
That'll give it the stout colour, yeah. Can you smell that? That's like some roast coffee.
Yeah, it is.
So now they were both half a kilo bags, or no, they weren't. They're smaller.
These were there's quarter of a kilo, and this was a quarter of a kilo.
So after this is 6.5.
And this is a quarter of a kilo also.
Nearly 7 then after this.
But then the oatmeals.
Have you been with the other ones that you made? Have you been aerating at the end, or have you just been with the pouring, it coming down?
Yeah,
that being enough?
Yeah, when it comes down, it's so, how do I say, violent that I think it aerates fairly well.
Quite a soup now. The volume has increased quite a bit.
One thing that I'm looking for from their milling, it seems like there's some grains that are nearly full.
They haven't broken.
Yeah, but in these ones they're completely
Fine.
Yeah, they're fine.
Alright, that's the Maris Otter in.
And then it's Viking black malt.
So now we've got to wait for this to recede and get that top plate on then, and those oats.
Oats first and then the top plate.
The oats.
Yeah, flaked oats. Now we've got the level to recede and we're adding the top plate. That's the pompon and mashing for. I think we'll do.
This one didn't have any. The other recipes had a schedule of 90 or 75, so I'm assuming
We
that it's
could go with 75
as well to be on the safe side.
Yeah. The hops for the brew are Chinook and Sriracha Ace. But we only have 75 grams. The recipe talks about 80 something. So I'm just gonna toss all of these into one hop sock.
I'll show you then.
This is the hop sock for the hops that go in the start. Chinook.
So the recipe calls for wasabi, and alternatively in the brewer's tip it has horseradish, which is a Finnish produce, fresh. So we're just going to use a cheese slicer, a few more bits, make flakes of it, and we just tasted it.
It's quite potent stuff.
Quite potent. So how do you tear this? You just press it?
Just once.
So we're looking to get about, we've got wasabi paste of 43 grams, so we want about 60 of this stuff. Cheese slicer in, big long strips, and then into the same sock goes the Sriracha Ace. So we're thinking about putting it in maybe with 5 minutes left of the boil, so probably not that much of this will get extracted. This Piparjuuri, horseradish, so it's some kind of a tuber or a grows underground, right?
Yeah.
And this one in here, which is probably not too great, the Vesi Piparjuuri, horseradish, soya oil, might go the sign. Got some sweetener E420, cornstarch, salt, lactose, and wasabi only 1.6%. Kurkuma, some turmeric, that's it, and then some colouring agent. Such a negligible amount that it's pretty not going to affect it hugely. Yeah, dump it in this sock and see how much. There's 30 grams now. 35 in fact.
These are
So-
thin flakes. 55. 5 more.
5 more, yeah. Then we would have 100 grams, and the recipe calls for 120, but we're afraid that the horseradish might overpower it and make it undrinkable. Because we've got 20 litres of undrinkable stout there. Sriracha Ace going in. Okay, I don't think it will hurt if I put it right in the middle there, pour it, press it out. It's not going to leak out. Close this up. Last 5 minutes for this.
So the brew monk is proving to be a bit out of hand. We increased the strike water temperature to 77, put the grains in, and then we lowered the temperature to 65. But this thing, it just retains the heat, it doesn't come down. And now we're sparging at way too high temperatures. And what I'm doing now, I have the pump on full. As you can see, the water is going through it like crazy. And I've removed the lid completely, just to kind of get that stuff cooling down quicker. And we're at the moment we're at 68 degrees, and we've now, because different temperatures extract different sugars, we have now decided to increase the mashing time by 15 minutes, and we're hoping that this temperature will drop considerably. So that's why we're doing it without the lid.
We've got a little useful handle which goes in, and the grained bill gets lifted out, and then we'll let the water, I think one-handed.
Can you get it?
Not by the looks of things, that'll be a good one for the video. You provide assistance on the other hand. Now, that's why I was trying to lift it with it being underneath that thing. So we had it wrong. That's what I didn't.
Joo, nyt nostetaan. Kääntää kunnolla. Nyt on täältä hyvä. That was the most difficult process ever.
But it's as simple as this. It's really easy. You just lift it and twist it.
Yeah. Nothing to it. So I'll now increase it to boiling.
Yeah, because the gravity we took again after the water had cooled down. The recipe demands for 72, and you said it was 68. Still the boiling to come, so probably going to concentrate
A lot.
to 72 at least, if not more.
I've set the brew monk to boiling. It's increasing, and we're going to sparge with 2 or 3 liters of water, given that our starting volume was higher. So here goes sparge water at 77 degrees. Yesterday we started a new starter, which is here, and we have now been educated that you should have your starter going for 3 days, and we've only had it going for 1 day. So basically what we're going to do is now is that we're going to harvest some of the starter and basically store it in here. These are sanitized now, and when we store it, then we'll try and make our next brew with this yeast, so that we don't have to buy the thing over and over again. So what we do is we take our yeast starter. We're using most of this for the new beer, but we're going to store half of like that, and we're hoping of actually getting our next beer going with this and save a tenner. So now we want to see how potent our wort is before the boil starts, and we have this fancy equipment to test the gravity of the wort at the beginning. So we have, what is this pot in English? Pipetti.
Is it a pipette? Pipette.
So this one you just have a couple of drops, and then we have a have a look. It's 173.
It's already strong.
173. Will you have a look? So now the wort is boiling, so we'll reduce the temperature down, the wattage down to 1300. But what we're going to do is, as per the recipe, we're going to chuck in our hops. So this is 75 grams of Chinook. So now the boil has come to its end. We've still got 3 minutes left, and we chucked in the cooler to disinfect it, and that's us done with the wasabi boiling. So now the wort has been cooled down, and we took our sample. Exciting times. How much will it be? It is 74, I would say. But the taste, how would I say? It's interesting, to say the least. Not maybe my favourite, at least at this point. I bet because there's a Finnish called tunkkainen. I don't know. What is that? What's that in English? Tunkkainen.
What would be the
yeah, musty might be a right
dank?
word.
Is dank another one?
But I bet the carbonation on it will elevate the flavour. But now we shall ferment the thing. So basically that's the wort cooled down, and we shall move it to the fermentation tank. And we trust that this is going to be enough aeration for the thing, so we don't need to mix it a lot. This is a yeast starter that I started yesterday, and that's going in. That was different in the, what do you call it, starter process was that I used the Elmer glass to boil the yeast starter. But what happened is the thing boiled over. I don't know if you can see. And I grabbed the Elmer from the gas stove and tried to move it, but still some foam, it just gushed onto my wrist. And now there's a line on this side, and this bit is burnt. And there's a couple of blisters on it. So wort is extremely volatile when you try to boil it. Now it's the final resting place for the wasabi beer. The one on the front is the imp that was brewed earlier on, and the one in the back, that's the one that we brewed today. The imp, it was still active this morning, plus the one, the double D is active. So now we have 3 fermentation tanks that are all active. So let's see when they finish.